Alright, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the grants in Scotland you can get for planting trees. Thought I'd give you a brief overview of that because that's really helpful, and we probably wouldn't be doing this without the grants. So let's crack on. Okay, so this is the Scottish Government website this is for forestry grants in Scotland. There's quite a few different ones, but specifically we're looking at woodland creation. So we'll go to here, and yeah, this is a brief overview of all the information that you need to submit an application. But I'm just going to show you these two things here. So we've got broadleaves and diverse conifer. So these are the two main grants that we're going to be applying for. So basically you get a amount of money per hectare that you're going to plant, and then you get so much money per year to look after the trees to make sure they become established. And if I click on here, we can have a brief look at the criteria. So yes, the trees have got to be for timber production in this case, and you have to plant so many per hectare. So with oak you're planting over 3,000 per hectare, and then with these other ones you're planting a few less. And we're going to be planting predominantly oak and birch, and also some sycamore, some wild cherry, and possibly some beech, sweet chestnut, poplar, aspen, and a few others. So those have basically got to take between 75 and 90% of the overall amount of trees that you plant have got to be these. And then you can also have some other types of trees and some shrubs and some open ground. So partially that's to help with the biodiversity, and partly for the open ground you've got to leave some space for the tracks and the pylons and the water which we've got. And what have we got further down here? So yeah, this is the criteria and the scoring. So they basically, when you submit an application, they basically score it on all these points. So that's something we're going to be looking at in more detail, making sure we can try and get as many points as possible to give our application the best chance of success. And I'll just talk about the other one we're looking at, is diverse conifer. So basically the conifer one here, that's predominantly for people planting Sitka spruce. So in Scotland Sitka spruce grows really well, and that's the tree that a lot of people who are just wanting to produce timber, they just grow that. And it's not native Scotland, but yeah, it just grows really well here. And the diverse conifer is for people who want to try to grow different types of conifers. It's normally, obviously you're not going to make as much money generally off doing that, but that's why they give you a bit more money for the grant up front to help with that costs and not being so productive. So here that we're probably going to be planting quite a bit of Scots pine, for example. So in those areas we've got to plant between 40 and 70% Scots pine, and then we can also plant some other conifers. So we'll probably plant some red cedar and potentially some redwood, and potentially we might plant some Sitka spruce as well. And then again you've got the broadleaves and the open ground. And the final thing on here I think I'll show you is the capital grant operations. So you get the money for planting the trees, and that covers buying the trees and paying for other people to plant them. And then you get these extra things. So in the central Scotland, as we are, you get a bit of extra money for each hectare that you plant. Then you get money for putting up a deer fence, and you get money for gates, and these last two, bracken control and gorse removal. So we're going to be needing some of that for getting rid of the bracken on the land to make sure the trees grow well, and gorse removal. We've also got some gorse on the land. So that kind of gives a brief overview of the grants, and I can show you some of these maps as well. So this is not our land, this is just an example that they provide, and as you can see, you basically have different areas here, and you basically have to say what you're going to plant in each of the different areas and show where you're going to put in a new road or where you're going to put in a deer fence. And then you have to provide a slightly more detailed map, and here you actually say what type of tree you're going to plant in each of the different compartments. So here they're predominantly planting Sitka spruce, and then also some Douglas fir and some birch and these other trees as well. And then you also have to produce this table. It's quite complicated, and it's basically to show how many of each of the trees you're going to be planting, so they can work out how much money they're going to pay you to do everything. Right, so I hope that gave a good overview of the different grants in Scotland, and in the next video, or maybe the video after that, we'll be actually cracking on with what we're actually going to be doing on our land. What trees we're going to be planting, where we're going to be planting them, what tracks are we going to be putting in, and all these other things that we discussed in previous videos. So I'll catch you there.